here on GoPSUSports.com in Beaver Stadium with head coach James Franklin. Coach, you've got your white on, I've got my white on. How exciting is it to, just be able to get back here in front of the home fans all dressed out in white?
First of all, you look awesome in the white.
Thank you, as do you.
It's a nice color on you. I think everybody knows how much I love the whiteouts. It's like Christmas for me in a lot of ways. It's football Christmas. This is a special community. There's not too many places like it. A normal game day here, I think, is better than most places in the country. And then when you take a whiteout, it takes it to a whole nother level. So, I know our players are excited about it. The thing that we're really working on this week is all these things are wonderful. Game day is wonderful. The ranking is wonderful. The whiteout is wonderful. But the reality is, I think the probably most important job you have as a head coach is eliminating distractions. And I think we all saw this past weekend a lot of ranked teams got upset because maybe they didn't handle distractions very well. So that's been my conversation, is all those things are wonderful. Let's focus on our preparation. Let's focus on Penn State. Let's make sure Friday night we can put our head on the pillow and go to sleep and be very, very comfortable with what we did to get ready for this game.
You mentioned all the extras and the noise, and consistency has really been something of yours long before all those things. Is that, approach to that, is that a conversation that you have with the players? Is it, just business as usual? Do you rely on the routine? How do you kind of, help them be able to block out that noise?
Well, I think that this is the reason for it. I think maybe for an opening season game, maybe people don't understand it so much. But when this is exactly why we do what we do. I'm responsible for 125 18 to 22-year-old males who get distracted easily. So I think the routine is really helpful for all of us, including myself. It's nice knowing on a Tuesday exactly how things are going to go. It makes our practices really efficient. It makes our preparation really efficient, our meetings, all those types of things. And it helps. I think what I've noticed in my career is coaches that didn't do that from week to week, they weren't consistent with their behaviors. And I think that's one of the things that's so important in a leadership position is consistency of behavior. So the players understand that each week for us is the Super Bowl. I made that comment earlier in the year, and people that don't follow us closely misinterpreted what I was saying. But for us, no other game exists. We're going to approach this game like it's the most important game in the universe. And I think with that, you have the best opportunity to play week in and week out consistently.
Now, coming off the bye week, last week you kind of mentioned starting off that week doing a little bit of self-scouting, there. I'm curious, what did you learn as a coach and as a staff, and how did that kind of shape the rest of the week in terms of practice?
Well, I think what you do is you always self-scout throughout the season. I mean, that's something you do. The thing that people don't realize is, tendencies are a good thing. Like, if you have tendencies, that means you're good at something. But the important thing is you need to be aware of those tendencies because your opponents are. And when you have a chance to break tendencies, which I think our defense has done a great job after looking at all the numbers, there's a lot of value in that. You become less predictable. So there's no doubt about that. So for us, that was really important. Instead of just going through it, for an hour, we were able to spend a whole day, really looking at things in detail. And then what we actually did is we had the offense self-scout our defense, and the defense self-scout our offense and break them down no different than an opponent, and then be able to take some of that feedback. Because what happens is I think sometimes even when you do your own self-scout analysis, you're too close to it. We've all wrote that paper in college and you've read it 10 times and you have like obvious typos in there, but you don't see it. Yeah. And somebody else comes in and points it out right away. You're like, and I think that's the same way with us. We're too close to it sometimes. So being able to get some different perspectives, I think, is really valuable. And then you take that information. Again, it's not like you take that information and you try to do everything you possibly can to be something you're not, but it's an awareness. And then you make some subtle tweaks that I think are going to be helpful for us.
And then, arriving at this midpoint in the season, it's hard to nitpick in terms of things to get better on, but what are some things that have impressed you the most, or maybe guys who are really standing out right now?
Well, I think probably the big story for us so far, and we need to continue doing this, is the turnover ratio.
Yeah.
And we're one of the better teams in the country in terms of protecting the ball on offense and creating turnovers on defense. And I think we all realize how powerful that statistic is. So we need to continue that. That's emphasizing it in practice and understanding the impact of that in games. And then I think the other thing is obviously areas that we need to get a little bit better. We need to be better on third down on defense. We need to be better on third down on offense. And then obviously cleaning up our field goal unit, because I think our special teams have been lights out, but that's the one unit where we're not playing up to our ability. So that's really been our focus this week.
And moving into this week's assignment, Michigan obviously coming in with a very solid defense, a very stout defense, lots of playmakers. I'm curious, what does Penn State need to do to be successful against that? What does the offense need to do?
Well, I think Don Brown, their defense coordinator, does a great job. We were at the University of Maryland together. He was the defense coordinator. I was the offensive coordinator. Don is what I would describe as a greedy defensive coordinator. Most defensive coordinators are going to give you something. They try to take one thing away, and they give you something else, and it's usually the wide field throw to the field where they say a college quarterback's not going to be able to complete enough of those free access throws across the field. Don's not like that. Don's going to overload the box to take the run away. He's going to play press coverage on the outside, and he's going to try to get pressure on the quarterback. And he's going to do that from the beginning of the game to the end, and that's unusual. So it's a real challenge. There's really no free yards on the field. In the running game, we're going to have to break tackles and make people miss because they're always going to have you outnumbered. In the passing game, we're going to have to win versus tight coverage, and we're going to have to make the contested catches. It's going to be a challenge, and that's why they've been one of the better defenses in the country for the last 3 years. So it's going to be a challenge again on Saturday, and obviously they have the talent that also backs it up. I think Maurice Hurst, their defensive tackle, is going to be a first-round draft choice from what I've seen on film and from the things I've read.
And then if you think about their offense and special teams as well, not to be overlooked, what's standing out to you right now there?
Well, I think their special teams, one of the things that really jumps out to me is a guy that our fans would be very familiar with, a guy by the name of Quinn Nordine, who's a kicker for them as a true freshman. Is right now his numbers are unbelievable. He's made a bunch of kicks. I think he's kicking about 85% field goals. He's made a number of field goals over 50 yards, I think along the 55. Is a talented guy. And then on offensively, they're what you would say a traditional Big Ten offense. They're going to try to run the ball down your throat, play action pass. So it's going to be a really challenge. It's going to be a real challenge. I know our guys are motivated. And again, we need to have a great week of preparation.
Well, we're looking forward to seeing you back out here on Saturday.
Thank you. And once again, the white just looks
Thanks,
really good.
Coach.
Really good.